Reversed World Scene 6. Later in the day, Sarah had arrived at the mall, pushing the pram that held both Margaret and Dave. Margaret is dressed in a cute frilly pink dress, with sandals on her feet and a pink bow in her hair. Dave wore a blue shirt and dark blue overalls with little red boots. They both were sucking on their clipped pacifiers as they entered the adult store. Margaret beamed with pride. "Well, I went to R without needing to pee or poop, now I gotta do that for the whole day, or until I get the box back," she giggles as Sarah looked at the packages of diapers they have on display. Dave drooled as he stared at an Asian woman on one of the packages. Margaret gasped as her pacifier fell off as she hit him. "You sleazeball." "Ow," whimpered Dave. "Sorry." Margaret fumed, then she noticed a guy holding her young daughter's hand. She gave a smile as she called out, "Hey handsome." The guy looked at her as she lifted up her dress exposing her diaper. "Like what you see," she teased as she dropped it back over her knees. The guy did a goofy laugh as he was led away. Dave hit her back. "Why did you do that?" "Oh, what? I can't show my diaper to cute guys," she mocked. "I said I was sorry." "Well, it's not good enough," she huffed as she turned her head and crossed her arms. Dave pouted, then he put head to her shoulder. Margaret shivered. "No, not gonna work," but it is working as he started pecking her shoulder. "Darviii. Not in public." Sarah split them apart again. "Come on, can you please control yourselves?" She pushed them to the counter so she could pay for the diapers. She then pushed her parents through the mall and out to the car park as she buckled them in and drove off. Margaret sighed in relief. Her diaper is still dry. Too bad she can't say the same for Dave as he just pooped his diaper. "Don't worry, Dave," she cooed. "When we get home I'm gonna fix all this." Once they back home, Sarah stripped them of their clothing, leaving them back in just their diapers, as she led Dave towards the nursery. "Come here, Dad," she cooed. "Time for a diaper change." Dave laughed as he waddled. Margaret quickly ran to the kitchen. The box is sitting right on top of the cupboard. She grabbed a chair and stood on it as she reached for it. She stood on her bare toes as she managed to touch it. "Yes," she cheered as she wrapped her fingers around it and took it down. Margaret got off the chair and sat on the ground. "Goodbye diapers," she said as she pushed the button. "Hello panties." She closed her eyes as she waited for the bright light. But nothing happened. She pushed again and again. "Come on," she shook it. "Work. Please, I wanna go home," but it didn't do anything. Margaret screamed in anger as she threw it against the wall. Then the box beeped. Margaret bent towards it as a bolt of lightning hit her. She cried out as her mind started changing, her memories being erased and replaced with new ones. Her memory of when she was baby, being changed by her mother and she was playfully kicking her feet. "Now Maggie, stand still," said her mother May, but Margaret blew a raspberry at her as a diaper would tape around her. "Listen, young lady, one day you are going to change your own baby, so hope that she will stand still for you." She blew on her belly as 2-year-old Margaret laughed, then the memory shifted. Margaret was the one wearing clothes while putting a diaper on her now babified mother, who is now the one kicking her feet. "Mum, hold still." But May just blew a raspberry at her as the diaper tape around her waist. "To think I'll properly do this when I get to your age," May just babbled nonsensely, so Margaret blew on her belly, making her laugh. She then remembered when she was 10, she was in school as her teacher Miss Rachel Summers was teaching them about maths. "Now Maggie," she said as she went to her desk. Margaret looked up at her as she stood firmly. "Why ain't you paying attention?" Margaret dropped her head. "Because it's boring," she mumbled. "Boring?" She huffed. "Well, how about you stay after class doing this problem 100 times? Margaret looked up. "What, no way?" "Yes way. Until you stop being such a baby." She turned back to the blackboard as the memory shifted again. "Rachel, get back here," called out Margaret as she wore her daycare work clothes, holding a big diaper as she chased Rachel around the change room. "No," yelled Rachel. She giggled as she ran around the room. Soon she was sitting on her now padded ass giggling behind her pacifier. Okay Rachel, I'm gonna spank your bottom so red it'll be like a tomato. Scolded Margaret. Rachel giggled as she got up and waddled out. Wait. You forgot your dress. She was now 18, she and her parents were celebrating her birthday that night. She blew out the candles. 18 already? Said Joe. Soon you'll go to college and meet a guy, then get married and have lots of babies. Don't get ahead of yourself, said May. Margaret beamed. Finally. Now I can do what I want when I want. Parties. Boys. And lots of sex. She grinned when the scene shifted. Margaret blew out her candles. Okay Mum and Dad, do you want cake? She looked over to the playpen where her parents are laying on their backs, clothed in just their cloth diapers as they gurgled and babble as they chew on their toys. Margaret watched them over the rails. Well, at least you'll both be 50 next year, she smiled. So this is the last year you can enjoy your diapers. She cooed as Joe and May laughed. Then Margaret noticed her pants begging to get darker. She squealed, I'm peeing my pants. Look Mum. I'm an adult now. May just babble as she drooled on her rattle. Margaret beamed. Soon I'll lose my potty training, put in diapers, go to daycare, meet lots of cute boys. She giggled just thinking about it. Now she is 28, she stood at the altar with her future husband Dave as the priest finished the ceremony. I now pronounce you man and wife, he finished. You may kiss the bride. Dave and Margaret both embraced and kissed as they walked down the church and out to their car. The memory, now Margaret is standing at the altar with Dave, only they are both wearing baby versions of their outfits. Dave whimpered as an aroma filled the room. The child priest finished up as Dave got red. Margaret decided to make him feel better, so she filled the back of her diaper with poop. I now pronounce you man and wife, you may kiss the bride. They kissed as their parents picked them up and carried them to the nearest change room. They had their first diaper change as a married couple. Margaret is now age 30, she was on the phone as Dave was building something in the basement. Their daughter Sarah played happily in the playpen. Sarah then got up as she called out for her. Mummy. Mummy. Margaret covered her phone. Yes sweetie. Play with me. She gurgled as she held her toys. Margaret sighed. Sorry sweetie, but I don't have time for toys. Mummy got some important work to do. She got back on the phone, leaving Sarah disappointed as she sat back down and continued to play. The lighting flashed through as Margaret is sitting in the playpen, dressed in only a diaper just like Dave as they play with their toys. Dave was busy being a policeman with his cars, while Margaret looked over to Sarah talking on the phone. She got up as she called out for her, Sarah. Sarah. Sarah covered her phone. Yes Mummy. Play with me. She gurgled as she held her toys. Sarah sighed. Sorry Mummy, I don't have time for toys, I got some very important work to do. She got back on the phone, leaving Margaret disappointed as she sat back down and continued to play. The memories change, even her memory of being a grown-up is now erased. Her old life is gone, replaced with her new life. Maggie smiled as these funny thoughts go through her head. She sat on the kitchen floor as Sarah entered the room. Mum? What are you doing here? She picked up the broken box as Maggie giggled. I found a new toy, she said. I fixed toy. Sarah smiled. Come on, she put the box in the bin as she stood her up. Let's get you back in your playpen, Maggie giggled as she was led away. 3 months later. Davy and Maggie played in their crib as they started rubbing against each other. Wanna take our diapers off? Asked Davy. Nah, Sarah will come and take us to daycare any minute, said Maggie as she thrust. Sarah did can in as she pulled them apart. Can't I leave you horny adults alone? She sighed as she grabbed her hand and lead her to the table. Maggie sat on her full messy diaper. You did poopy again. Maggie laughed. I'm a poopy mummy. Sarah giggled, then her phone rang. She picked it up as she removed her diaper. No candy. I need those reports now. No, I can't fax you it. I'm changing my mother's diaper. The end.